Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's light in other places. Oh, let me add Jennifer.
It was light here.
We just went live, Jennifer, so I was just getting ready to do our intro, and then we'll get down to
it. And I'm going to finish my makeup.
Of course.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to look at that, Jennifer. Gosh.
I know.
All right. Welcome to this week's The Groomers Cut. We are the Pet Pro educators, and we might see Michelle, but I think we may not this evening. I know she is having some family, but she's with family this week, so she will be joining us shortly. I know she didn't want to miss this, Linda, but we appreciate you coming on. For all of those who are first watching, you know we've been going through all the certifications and talking to all of our organizations that certify, and we wanted to get in contact with everybody and the main source of each one so that we could get all the facts straight and right from them themselves. So tonight,
and in Linda's case, we can say straight from the horse's mouth because she's got how many horses, Linda?
Only 10.
Only 10.
Yeah, we're down.
So, yes, right from there. So tonight we are hosting Linda Easton with the International Professional Groomers Incorporated, right? Is that so?
Yes,
The IPG is their symbols, and for everyone for their first time viewing, welcome to the Pet Pro educators. Welcome to the Groomers Cut. And if you are new and have not granted StreamYard permission on Facebook, please grant that on whichever platform you are watching. We are live on 10 different platforms right now. I just see we have
Colleen is in Bermuda.
Yes, we have had some. We've got a lady who joins us from Australia every now and again too. So we're getting some international exposures ourselves. But we want to see your lovely names over in the comments. We will throw out comments since we know everybody is going to be watching from different platforms so that you keep up with all the conversations and all of the questions or comments that are coming in. So I'm going to start. Linda, thank you again for joining us this evening. And tell us, I've been asking everyone the first thing, how did you get into this? How did you start your organization? When and what was the push behind it?
Well, IPG actually started in about 1988. There were another number of people. I was not involved then. It was actually Judy Kerpeel was one of the founders, and Pam
was on the board. I was on the board when she was the president.
And Pam Lawrenson, actually. Yep. And then, all the politics stuff happens, and there was the split here and the split there. And so Pam went off to another association, and IPG kept going. And then when Judy got sick, she asked me to come on board. And that was in 2008, I believe. So, I went back east, I got all the paperwork, and we just kind of have gone on from there. And right about the same time we started adding new programs because we'd always just had the masters, and I was just so passionate about more than that. So we started new programs. I had been certified, I can't even remember. I was pregnant with my daughter, so I got certified as a master. Like, I started my certification quite a while ago when Judy was still doing a lot of the certifying and I was competing. So when she asked me to come on board, it was just kind of a natural thing because I was really passionate about what IPG was doing at the time, even though it's doing a lot more now. And so I was really excited to do more. And at the time I had sold a grooming salon, and I thought I was going to be retired, and I thought I had all this extra time. And, then I opened another grooming salon, but groomers don't really stop very well. So
I was around for a lot of that, and actually, you and Judy were leading great things right from the beginning. But I think one of the main things that kind of caused organizations to Pam and others to kind of go different directions really was just a financial struggle of how to survive. And can you be a not-for-profit, or can you be? Do you have to be for-profit? And I think everybody figured out that, what Judy voluntarily did for many years, just working her fingers to the bone and trying to do it as a not-for-profit, just isn't a viable model. It's just not viable.
No, and it really wasn't not. It's originally was a nonprofit, and it actually lost that status fairly early on. It just nobody knew it. So, and my attitude, and I know Pam, I'm sure Pam agrees, is that you have to be for profit because the people that are passionate about it, they need to get some financial benefit from it. Otherwise, not because they won't do it if they're not paid, but if you want them to stay involved, they're spending time and
you have to eat.
Yeah,
you have to live.
Everybody
have a mortgage.
So that's why now we have, affiliates in different areas. We have an affiliate they're in England, but they actually take care of most of Europe. We have an affiliate in Asia. We have, Victor does he kind of took off a big chunk. He tries to do all of Latin America, all the Spanish speaking areas. So we have lots and lots of other people that are passionate about it too. So it really has been fun, and we've had a lot of changes, which has been pretty exciting.
Well, I think 2 of the 4. Melissa, I don't know where are you CMG with National or with IPG?
Neither one.
So but both Michelle Knowles and I are both ICMGs, right. and so 2 of the 4 hosts of Groomers Cut are ICMGs.
I'm just not a master, but I've been a member for quite a long time. I just have never tested.
Well, and that was a huge issue. That's one of the reasons why we made so many changes. And part of that was when Jim came on board, because he goes, you got this program, because we had the bathing, because I wanted everybody to be safe. So we had the bathing that Haley and I kind of came up with. And then we had masters, and there was nothing in between. And for a lot of people, they can't travel to get dogs, or they're overwhelmed, or there's all kinds of reasons. So that's when we became more of an education body than just, because in those days we would tell people we don't educate, we just certify. We're not going by anybody's grooming books or anybody's grooming guides. We just certify masters. And that's really all we did. And it's now that we've kind of changed it to where it's a progression where everybody starts with a safety certification, and then they can go to advanced or not, and then they can go to masters. I have people starting to certify that have been grooming, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, that are getting ready to retire even, and just want to do this before they retire. They want to get, acknowledge all the work that they've put in. So it's really been fun to see the change, and maybe to see the change in our industry too, because there is more of a craving, I think, for it than there was when you and I were doing it.
You made it really easy too. You've done all the virtual stuff now. I've been following that, and I'm like, that's amazing to be able to do it that way.
We can do it all on Zoom. And what's really cool is that our affiliates are now doing it, because when we first started doing it, I invited our affiliates to come participate, and they're like, I don't think you can do this on video. And now I think England this last weekend had their 3rd or 4th time that they did one. Victor's done a couple. And
I have sat through apprentice certifying with you on Zoom, and you are amazing. I've learned a lot from watching you do, how you have them turn the dog, how you have them lift with a comb, how you have them insert with a comb, so that you can see lengths, you can see angles. It's really,
you can really see a lot. And I actually see more, because when I certify, I hate staring at people. because that I find that kind of intimidating, so I'll kind of wander around and then you kind of watch. And when you do it by Zoom, you can actually watch everybody. And I don't think that, I know people get nervous, everybody gets nervous, but it's not, they know that they're not the only one on the screen. And it just makes it a lot better, I think, experience. Plus, we work really hard to make them comfortable. I try to find something nice to say, about everybody, about the work they're doing or the dog they've got, or, how they're handling it. And then, all of our certifiers, we work really hard to give them tips to either progress to the next level or just be more efficient or effective in what they're doing. So, if we can say, hey, try holding your scissors different, or pick up the foot and hold it at a different angle and then scissor, or whatever it is, and to make it so that they come out with something positive besides just a passing grade, I guess.
I can say one of the other things that I absolutely love about watching you certify and knowing that this is an ICMG, it's part of that whole "we are about education" philosophy, is
Right.
that you use the certification experience. Like I was a high school classroom teacher for 30 years, and we didn't stand there during the test and teach the material while they were testing.
Right.
Tests are in quiet, and oh God, what do I remember? And
exactly,
you turn the test into an educational experience. You
right.
actually give them a hint. Why don't you try this? Why don't
Right.
you, look at this angle, and you actually coach them and make them better groomers while they are testing, which is amazing.
Well, and if when I was certifying, and I'm sure when you were certifying, if we had good certifiers, they would go over our dog at the end and give us tips and go, well, if you'd taken this angle shorter and you'd have taken it closer there. And we're all going, oh, yeah. And, at the moment, it's like, oh, I see it. I understand it. And you get home and a week later you go, what'd they say?
Yeah.
But if you're right there and I say, okay, lift up your scissors and cut.
Sorry.
That's okay. And they make a cut, they remember it because they did it and they see what changes it makes. So to me, that's what makes it important.
Wow.
So
I guess I'm gonna go a little, because and this might not be the right question to ask. Am I?
No bad questions.
No, well, I just and I should have asked everyone, and I just kind of thought about it as we were going through. So you came into this organization. Is it owned by somebody? Is it?
Well, now I own it.
Okay, that's
owned by me. When we came on board, it was basically owned by Judy.
Okay.
The thought was that it was a nonprofit, but it wasn't. It was owned by Judy, and there was she had kind of lightened up the reins, and there was somebody in Australia actually trying to take it away from her. So we real quick, that was when Haley and I came on board and as president and the secretary, because we had a board for the last few years. Mm-hmm. So we went and we renewed all the incorporation, which had lapsed like years and years and years ago. And that was when the attorney said, you guys don't want to do a nonprofit, because then you get into that whole situation again. Okay. So, and then Haley is no longer part of it. So now it's just me. And then, but we have that technically owns it, but we have affiliates that all have a big voice. So we have Angela Cayley and her husband are in Europe. We have Tessie Scooter, who's in Singapore and Asia, Victor, and then we just brought on board Mike Ross, who is going to be our school affiliate. And he has a big grooming school, very, very successful school in San Diego. And he's actually kind of lightening his load. So it's a lot of it is based on the input that we get from our regional representatives and affiliates. That's what makes it all happen, is, all those people. And then we also are starting to work with Kim Reisman. So she's our feline affiliate, because we're combining programs with her. So that's really exciting too. That's a whole nother way for us to be going, which is.
That's awesome. I saw that you guys took on the feline stuff. That's amazing. Linda, can you tell us what the process is for people that don't know? Like if you want to start to, like you said, you start with the safety. So what is the costs and the steps?
So the first step is that we have it, we're broken down into tracks. We have track 1, 2, 3. So track 1 is our safety track. That's the certified professional groomer.
Right.
And there is another part of that I actually just finished the book today, and it goes to the printer for people that aren't actually groomers, that are maybe bathers or office staff, and they can become a certified pet professional. And it will have a similar information, but obviously not grooming, more centered on bathing and safety and health. So that track 1 is all the safety, everything like that. And the package, when the groomers sign up, that it includes their first year of membership. Our memberships go to the end of December. And then they get, their 2 resource manual, their 2 books, their written tests, and they get a couple of bonus DVDs and things. And then depending on, the only extra fee then would be depending on how they're going to certify. So there's fee for the Zoom. A lot of times if you go live, we encourage our people to charge for that, because they're using their salons and having people there and they have to clean up. So we're trying to, then they want to do it again. But
the price is so reasonable.
Is $379. And that includes everything. So that's
track 1.
That's for track 1. And then they become a certified professional groomer. And each track builds.
Professional.
So, yeah. And then each track builds on the other. So the second track is the advanced professional groomer. And that's because there's lots of people that may not do purebred dogs, but they're still awesome groomers. And so that's where it gets more into shape, style, symmetry, dealing with more hair, having a little bit better technical skills. So they're going to be doing more scissoring, more thinning shear work. And then we also introduce into that double coated breeds and like special needs, your toys, your seniors, that aren't covered anywhere in anybody else's certification.
Right.
But
I was going to say that's unique to IPG.
Things that they need. Yeah. So, and then the other part about the advanced, that's $297. And again, that comes with a book and your videos and your written tests and everything. The nice thing about the advanced is if you want to progress to masters, the hard part about masters is getting to me, where I see people struggle the most is understanding shape and angulation. So that we really try to kind of drill into you in the advanced, and especially if you do it on Zoom, I try to make sure that before they get off Zoom, they understand what a rear angulation and a front angulation is. Whether or not they had enough hair or whether or not their scissoring was perfect. I want them to understand that piece of the shape. Because now if you want to go to masters, and that gets you, you get an APG, advanced professional groomer. And if you want to go to masters, that will set you up for more success because you understand that piece of it. Now it's a matter of reading the breed standard and then matching your groom to the breed that you want to groom. So every step kind of sets you up.
But you can actually become a certified professional groomer or an advanced professional groomer without doing all of the breed standard stuff that you have to learn, towards the masters. Right. And it's a really good credential because you get, I can just tell you, because I got CPGs on my staff too. Mm-hmm. We get nice signs for our windows that say we have certified professional groomers here. There is tremendously interesting. The books that you and Jim have written are just amazingly, just walk through it so clear. They are readable. You can step in and step out of them no matter where you're at. They are really user-friendly, accessible materials.
Well, and the reason the books are so important is because groomers have learned to groom. That's why we're working on the school system. And I know Dara is too, because groomers have learned so many different ways. I was self-taught. I was going to be trained and the woman left in a week and a half, So I was like, she said, just go get this book. It'll be fine. But I understand that, we know that lots of groomers have learned lots of different ways. So that part of the goal of the resource manuals is that however you learn to groom, this should fill in the gaps. So there should be something in here that you haven't thought about or heard about. We've done massive amounts of research to keep it current. Every time we re-edit the books, there's new information that goes in it. Anytime somebody asks me a question, I go do research and we add new information, or we go interview somebody to get the information, or we have somebody else write a chapter. So we really try to help people get a more complete background to their education too.
Well, Mindy Dinwiddie thinks that you are a very encouraging certifier as well.
Thank you, Mindy.
Yeah, Mindy, we talked a lot about you. All good when she was here a couple weeks ago.
Well, the other really wonderful part of the Zoom is that we've been able to involve, there's lots of groomers that have been grooming for a long time and that have either gotten their masters or are now working on it, that really want to do more. They want to give back. They want to help new groomers. I had one girl, I always ask them comments on, why they're getting certifying, why they're certifying. And she had written, I want to set myself apart from the competition and be better than, everybody else. And by the time she sent her test and she scratched that out and she said, after reading all of this and going through this, my new goal is to help other groomers. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was it. Okay, I've done everything I need to, because that's what will save our industry. It's not Amen. Who's going to license us or who's going to do the biggest testing. It's experienced groomers that are willing to help new groomers. I mean, that's really what it's all about.
I mean, do you think it's also not just the experience, but it's those new groomers being accepting of it too?
Yeah. Well, and they aren't all, but the exciting thing is that that there are so many new groomers that are getting certified, and I see it probably more than a lot of the certification associations, because we have our tracks, because we have CPG, they can start that right after grooming school. So if they've been grooming,
while they're in grooming school,
so it's a 600-hour minimum training and experience. So it should be, you're doing a bath and a dry and a clippered, anything longer than the 4, a clippered pet trim. So anybody that's going to call themselves a groomer should be able to pass that. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of these groomers that are young, I'm seeing more and more of them coming on board. But what's really exciting is if they struggle with pieces of it because of how they've learned, if they're not safe with how they dry the dogs or how they move legs or things like that, most of them, and there's a handful over the years that I haven't heard from again when we give them a critique, but most of them, even if they don't pass, we don't fail them. We say, you need to redo part of it, and then they do it again. But most of them are so excited because nobody ever told them that. Right. And they fix the problem, and now they're better groomers and they're safer groomers. So to me, that's the part that's really exciting. And there will come a point as certification becomes more and more popular and as more groomers are getting certified, it will become an issue of the groomers that are not certified, and not the older groomers that have been around for a while, but especially the younger groomers. We're going to start getting customers that are going to say, well, what are your qualifications? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When they see gray hair, they might not ask, but they're going to start asking. And that's when these younger groomers are going to either have to come on board or probably find something else to do.
But this is so revolutionary in the industry, because you have created certifications that are for every level of groomer. This is and Mindy just pointed that out in the chat room, that anybody can get certified at some level. There's and you have first aid credential. You're conveniently married to a doctor. Nice job there. We've got this amazing doctor teaching first aid now for groomers because he's such a good teacher. And there's something that's easily accessible, affordable, doable, and being able now to do it via Zoom for everybody. It's just the most accessible certification.
It is really
I was
fun.
going to ask, how long about do you think it would take or for the progression? Because I've asked this for all the others, and there's quite a time frame for some of them. And so how long do you think for the first 2 levels is considered normal or
For
common
for
or
them to complete it?
yes. Yeah.
It really depends on your experience coming in, because I have people that they'll, especially with COVID, where we did a lot of people when they first got shut down, they would order certification and because they could work on it because they couldn't work. So a lot of people, if they're not working and they have time to go through it and they've got some experience, the turnaround for like track 1 is within a week or 2.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then track
That's what I thought
2,
when I was looking through
yeah,
it.
because
Yeah.
it should be things that you know how to do.
Yeah.
The books are going to help you know what we want to see
Yeah.
and help fill in gaps in your education. But really, it should be things that you know how to do. So that should go pretty quickly. And then even in like when you get to
The
track
second.
2, you
Mhm.
know, even that, depending on your experience, you may understand shape and angulation. And if you don't and you have access to dogs, we have a program where any of your advanced or masters, before you do the testing, you send a picture to a certifier and we critique it and send it back. You know,
Okay.
like we draw on the pictures so they know exactly what we're looking for. So I've had people, especially with the Zoom now, because they can do a dog a month.
Mhm.
I've had people that do a test every month and they go straight through from track 1 to masters. So there's 4 tests in masters and 2 in, I've even had a couple that do 2 at a time and 2 in advanced. And then, so there's like 1, 2, 3. So there's 8 tests, basically practical tests.
Yep.
So, and if I have more than 1 a month, you know, I've had people that'll do it. Boom, boom,
Just
boom,
boom,
straight
boom,
through.
boom. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's great. How
So,
many people do you think, how many groomers have made that master level for you?
masters,
Do you-
hundreds, but not
Mhm.
as many as you would think.
Okay.
Um, they did a survey a few years ago, and it's outdated now, especially because of COVID and because there's so many more opportunities now. But they surveyed groomers to ask them if they were interested in certification or if they had certification, and like 80% were interested, and like 2 or 3% actually were certified. And that was probably, they were talking mostly with people for masters, not with the other levels.
Not with the other levels. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, and over the years, you know, we've had, I would say probably maybe 1900 the last time I counted. I haven't counted recently.
That's
But,
great.
but really,
Good.
but not high compared to how many groomers there are.
I was just
You
going
know,
to
it's
go there. I
really
think we've
low.
kind of got from Pet Age last year they came out and they said
Yeah, they say it
like
every,
190,000 groomers nationwide,
right.
which
Wow.
that's not a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, when you're
No,
talking
so like
about
1% of them maybe have gone through to masters.
in any
You know,
organization, no
yeah,
less.
and that's all of them.
So
Yeah, yeah. So
it's a small number all the way around. And when you're
now, on the
looking
other
at
hand, with the CPG, I would say we launched that program in 2014, and I'm looking at my notebooks of people that are either in process or have
enrolled
completed it, and I would say several thousand.
several thousand.
So much, and that's just in 5 years. So much different than the masters, and many of these people, especially as the Zoom is becoming more popular, are more anxious to do more than just the CPG. Some of them are happy because now they've got that safety certification, and really that's what the customers want. They want to know that we're safe.
Yeah.
So a lot of groomers are happy and they're very proud to display it. And I think that's wonderful. We give them signs, we give them press releases. We do all those things because when I got certified, I never told anybody. I'm one of those people that, I don't like brag on myself. So I mean, my customers knew if I was
That's
borrowing their
right.
dogs,
You
but
were also an Icon Award recipient last year too. So
see,
The
I
two
don't,
of you.
I don't brag about stuff. So that's why, you know, we do the signs and we do we give them lots of opportunities to, and we got new signs this year that are like the glossy cardboard, so they can put them right in the window and they won't deteriorate. So every year you'll get a new one, every year that you renew, because we want you to have that sign right in the window. Because every time somebody walks through your window and sees a sign that says you're a certified groomer, if
they either ask or
and
they
go down the road,
curiosity.
yeah, and if they go down the road because they can't get in, they're going to say, wait a minute. And so that's what we want. We want them to start thinking about, well, was my other groomer certified? Is the one down the road certified? You know, and then they will ask us.
So I know Melissa will want to get in on this. What is the cat program going to be like? Because I don't know anybody else that's certifying for cat grooming that isn't just a cat only organization. Kim, I actually went through Kim's, at least the beginnings of Kim's program, which is the Professional Cat Groomers of America. What was
I
Professional Cat Groomers
went through
Association.
the beginnings of that as well.
Yeah,
so
great program. But now you're married.
We are. Well, Kim and I met right as she was starting her program. So we've been friends for a really long time. And every time we would talk, it's like, we always tease that we're, you know, daughters from different mothers, because we feel so much the same about how the animals are treated. You know, she does the no scruffing, treat the cats really good. And it's, you know, I'm like low restraint on the dogs. I mean, everything.
I'm going to ask not to interrupt you, but I just want, for people who are viewing, I just want to know and be able to say that this is different than the National Cat Groomers.
Yes.
Or okay, I just wanted to clear that.
There are two organizations.
Two organizations. Okay.
Yeah, there is National Cat Groomers.
Okay.
And I think a lot of her philosophies are a little bit different than Kim's. I'm not saying better or worse.
Yeah.
Kim and I we believe everything the same. And she was, you know, her mom's been sick and she's been going through a lot. And so she had a great program that people weren't getting access to. So I said, let's take it. And it was the same thing. It was an overwhelming master's program. So we did the same thing with the cat program. We turned it into 3 tracks. So the first track is safety, mostly bathing for cats. And then the second track is advanced. And there again, it's special needs cats. And we, you know, get into shaving matted cats. And then track 3, which is really exciting, is the master's track. And that's where we talk about the breeds and special needs of the breeds and identifying the breeds and more specific, fancier trims. And I'm pretty sure that we will be TICA endorsed or approved.
Oh, nice.
What is that?
I was going to ask that. Is it okay to
Cat Association?
Is it okay to post that website? The Professional Cat Groomers Association of America.
Her website is going to go down.
It's coming down. Okay.
Yeah, they can go straight to my website and get all the information.
All right. So I won't, then I'm going to just post yours.
Is that up, Linda? Is that up and ready now? The cat.
Yeah, I've got the first track is finished. I just finished.
Look at that.
This weekend. She sent me videos that we had to you know, edit and do all that. This is my bonus granddaughter on the cover.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome. That is ready to go, because I'm super interested in that.
Yeah. And that one's, the first track is ready. So then we'll get the advanced and the master's part up and going also.
And so all we have to do is just go to the regular IPG website.
Yeah, there's a whole page for the cat program on our website.
Good deal.
Right now, the package is sitting on my desk here waiting to mail out in the morning for that. So and that one works. It parallels the dog certification. There's a track 1, a track 2, and a track 3, which is really cool. And the prices are a little bit lower, pretty similar. There's just not as many tests that you take.
I have to tell you though, I took one, I got base certified with her years ago. And then I stopped when I read the master's material about all the cat breeds. And I'm like,
Because
I've had cats all my life, but I never have showed them. I used to breed Himalayans for a while.
Right.
I knew that it was going to take a serious amount of commitment from somebody who's not a cat show person to learn all those breeds. There are more cat breeds than I ever knew.
There are.
I never knew.
Tika is the biggest association for them.
And adding them.
Oh yeah, they add them all the time. I watch
all the time.
So is Tika like AKC? Is it only in the United States?
No, they're international. They are the biggest cat association in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and it turns out that one of their marketing director is one of my best friends that I've known like for 40 years. We knew when my kids were little. I worked for her. She had a dog show entry service. So, so Tika, they're actually sponsoring us, I believe. I haven't seen if everything's gone through yet, but at Atlanta Pet Fair. So, so we'll be in a booth with representatives.
I will see you there.
Yeah, to launch the cat program there. So that's exciting too.
That's great.
So yeah, and it's a really great program. And there again, I took all the information that Kim gave me. We updated all our research before we sent it out, because there's always new things, or there's old wives' tales that everybody repeats, and you go, oh, well, wait a minute. And then you do some research. So it's really been fun. So
I can't wait. I'm excited for that. I've been waiting to see when you guys would release it, because I said,
ready right now.
I've worked
my school partner, Lisa Herbold, who's in the chat room, who's an ICMG right here in the Chicago area, like myself. She and I are opening a grooming school in the fall, which we will be using.
Showed cats, she said, with Tika.
Yes, she's been showing her cats with Tika, and agrees with me. You have done so much. You have taken IPG and really just grown it into what the most global. Right, it's the most global.
So we're in 33 countries. I think we have,
and the most accessible at different levels.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so nice, is that you don't have to say your only choice is a master.
Right.
That you can have credentials at different stages.
Right. And that's okay. And now with the cat, maybe you don't even want to get your masters or much in the dogs. Maybe you want to just, emphasize with the cat. But my passion really is.
No, I mean for both. For both. Yeah. You've opened the doors up for both now. I just
want to help groomers. My dream would be that if you took your dog and you moved to a new town, you could walk into a grooming salon and know that they were going to take good care of your dog and do a decent groom. To me, that's a perfect world. So every groomer I take closer to meeting that goal is a win for me. So that's, to me, that's
awesome.
I have a little dog. I know how I would feel if she wasn't treated well. So that's my passion. And then I know that there's lots and lots of groomers out there that feel the same way, and we want to acknowledge them. Mm-hmm. They need to get credit for what they do well. So
absolutely. I just love the fact that the way that you've revamped everything.
Thank you.
I just think that is
a lot of work, but
Kim in the chat room has acknowledged that took a class from Dr. Jim, your husband, and said and agrees with me that he's a great speaker. He's a great teacher. Both of you are wonderful. Wonderful teachers. And if anybody watching the Groomers Cut tonight ever gets a chance to see Linda or Jim speak at a conference in person, please. Soon, someday.
I know. We may, other than Atlanta, we may, not do as much of the traveling. The world has changed for a while. So, if we can't.
We're doing a lot of virtual conferences now, and that's great too. That's made conferences so much more accessible to more people.
Yeah, education certainly has. Yeah, it's had its downsides too. I think sometimes they get a little bit carried away with what they certify, but
Oh, Mindy raises an interesting point. So, and I do this all the time. I have customers that move to, they retire to Florida, or they.
Right.
husband's job moves them to Arizona or something. And they're always telling me, so, we love you so much, Jennifer, but you got to find us a groomer as good as you in, suburban Albuquerque, or something.
It's hard.
And I can just call you up and get somebody, which is
I will give you names
cool.
if I know. And I have been in contact with somebody. We've been working at getting our website revamped. We had somebody kind of spam our members one year. When we had our membership posted, and they sent everybody they were really awful emails about if you needed attack dogs or something in your salon. And it was awful. So I've been really leery about how to put a membership portal for people to find groomers on the website, but I am happy to refer if they email me, I will send them names of groomers.
Do you have a Facebook membership only page?
No.
No. Okay. Because that would be a way for that to be able to post and say anybody.
I know. But you can also post on the, the IPG Facebook also.
On the regular Facebook.
I'm happy with people doing that. And
that's a public page. Anybody can do that.
People that I don't know anything about, a lot of times if they offer, I'll pull their post, So, and the reason it's not members only is because we pull a lot of members from that, because there's an old saying, my husband is a Harley rider, and the Harley dealership does massive amounts of research on who buys. And they say, I think it was 26 trips into the dealership before somebody buys a Harley.
Wow.
And it's very similar with certification. And, you hear about it, you like it, you want to know more. And then eventually you do. And so that's why I think it's really important that we're not a member only Facebook page, because I want people to hear what we're, I try to give them tips every week when I'm on live. It's not to sell, it's for me to, if I learn something, I share it. And so I want them to understand that that's kind of what IPG is about. And then a lot of those people do go on to become, members. So it makes it a little bit hard.
That's interesting to say it that way, that most places have their own private groups, but then it's hard to keep them updated and keep them closed and secure, and it's a lot more work for you guys, but keeping it up, they also say, I guess I didn't know that about Harleys. I know that with customer service, though, 7 visits before you really safely secure a client.
And I've had people write me that some are members and some aren't. Like when the COVID first hit, that's when I started doing my live every Thursday, and I would just share things that we knew about staying safe. Jim does lots of research because he's a doctor, things that they needed to do to keep themselves safe if they were staying open, or whether or not they should stay open or whatever. We started posting about that. I had a couple of people from Canada contact me, and they thanked me so much, because nobody in Canada was like, hey, you're on your own, nothing. So, so my goal is to just help everybody, and if they want to get certified, that's even better. We want to build our whole industry, and you have to, you have to be willing to teach everybody to build the industry.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, Mindy, let's see. We got some comments over there. Someone truly believe in the learn and share. Mindy is very good at that. She really pitching for her. One of my besties.
No, I've spent a lot of time learning the things that I know, so I'm more than happy to share it with people. I spend lots of time on the phone and texting and, just bizarre grooming questions that have nothing to do with certification. And I'm somebody said they ordered the track one. They're going out tomorrow.
Yay.
So I'm like,
I was just about to say.
I'll tout as a beneficiary. I will tout another one of IPG's amazing services that you and Jim perform, which is business consulting and advising. Linda and Jim helped me restructure my business in some very important and helpful ways, things that I never would have dared to think of or to try to do. And Jim is a great business consultant as well. And so there is also for those of you that are business owners, I think there's some great educational information through APG as well.
Yeah. And I will say that you were probably one of his best clients because you actually did a lot of the things that we
did actually what he advised me to do.
I know. Well, because so many people, that's the hard thing about consulting. They're like, oh, that sounds good, but I don't think that'll work for me, and they fight it. And then I had
the same reaction. And I will tell you, if I may share, the biggest hill for me to climb was going from commission to hourly. And I just couldn't see it. I could not see how that was going to work. And then when it all of a sudden occurred to me about the teamwork and about how many times during the day, we need to help each other. I've got 4 groomers. I've got, 15 staff people. I'm doing, we've got, a daycare of 15 and, 30, 35 dogs a day. Yeah. And it's a huge business. And we are helping each other all the time. And the switching to hourly was, that was the best. And Linda and Jim were very patient with me while I, I had to take the journey in my head. Oh no, groomers are always on commission.
I know.
I mean, it has been a revelation. Everybody's a team. Everybody helps each other. Everybody's still working really hard. And it's taken out this sort of, I'm in this for me, kind of mindset that
I need 3 dogs today and you only get 2, and all the competition, which I also think is a huge part of injuries in salons, is there's a competition and a race. Who can do the most dogs the fastest gets the most money. Oh, yeah. And that's just a really bad thing for our industry. But Jim he's an awesome business coach, and he also has a new program that he's getting ready to launch for people that are starting new businesses. And he's got a platform to help them figure out the legal ramifications and everything like that too. So he's going to be really busy too. But he's also remodeling my kitchen right now. So
one thing at a time. That's more important. That's very important.
No, it's just wonderful. You have brought so much to the industry, and a lot of people might not know the history, but Linda used to be a show handler, a show dog person, and also, like myself, came from the show world. And so many of the great groomers are like that. But one of the things that brings to when I've seen you teach is that you're actually teaching them about structure, about angulation, about breed standard. Even if it's not a purebred dog, you can still make the dog look balanced, blended, nice outline, good structure. It's amazing. You always bring that to everything that you do.
And I'm sure that shaped a lot of my career, is that I started grooming kind of to put myself through college. And then I got really quickly involved in showing dogs and then became a professional handler. But I also handled dogs in like all 7 groups. So I wasn't a specialist. I had a lot of poodles, but I finished dogs in like 40 different breeds. Or I don't know. I think that's something like that. A lot of different breeds.
That's amazing.
And so that made a big difference in how I see things. But I also have a saying that I say to everybody, and I say it to my customers when they come in. They say, don't worry about how he looks. We love him no matter what. And I always tell everybody, every dog is a star. So they might not be a champion in the show ring, but they're still a star. And my goal is that every dog gets groomed so it looks like a star when it goes out, whatever that means, for that dog. So.
Very nice. Mindy said, I love what Mindy says, that their race is to see who can do the best and safest to get the biggest tip.
There you go. That's better.
Yeah. And what do they get for the biggest tip from the owner?
Yeah, is there an award?
Picture on the wall, private parking space.
Yeah, there you go. More cookies at Christmas.
Oh, we all need that after being
I
in
know.
lockdown, right?
I know. I know. This has been a tough year.
Oh, I know. I've got 15 pounds I just cannot get rid of. It's horrible.
Oh,
Can't
they
wait
get
for.
to pick the music. Oh, that's
Well, there you go.
brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I've
Do
always
you
been one of those people that didn't groom with music.
Linda, what do you think is the future of the grooming industry post pandemic? Like, in what ways do you think? Because you were, I believe, the first to go with online certification. Yeah. And what do you think are the things that will change permanently in the industry because of what we've been through the last year or so?
I think that what we're seeing is a huge, and I see it because of the levels of certification that we do, a huge number of groomers that were working at big salons, and for one reason or another, they weren't real comfortable. And because of COVID, they have gone out on their own. A lot of them opened up in their home. A lot of them got mobiles, and they've worked into building a little salon, or they do in-home. But I see a lot of single groomers doing startups out on their own because with COVID, it was just too hard for everybody to work in a salon. And I think that will be, I think it welcomed groomers to do that. And that's why I think certification is even more important, because when you're on your own, it's even more important that you really know what you're doing. So I'm hoping that certification will become more and more important to more groomers, not just ours, all of it, because, the complaints, I get lots of complaints that people find us on the internet. So I hear a lot of the horror stories that, happen to people's babies. And when they call me, knock on wood, but I can count on one finger the one complaint that had to do with a certified groomer. And all the other complaints are people that either claim to be certified or just aren't.
Yeah.
And if they're certified groomers, we will we mediate. That's what the one case that we had, that was one of our groomers, her attorney said, it's not your fault. And we mediated, and she took responsibility. So, most of it, but usually it's groomers that aren't certified. So that says something about how important certification is in keeping dogs safe.
And that's one of the things I hope that we will do at the end of this amazing series that Dara has put together on all of the different certifying routes that you can take. In fact, we've got to, once again, get at the, any online grooming school, which is a grooming school if it's all online. There's no hands-on.
But for some people, you have to understand, and we all know
claiming that giving them certification.
But nonetheless, I get calls from people looking for schools that are like in the middle of South Dakota, and there's only 30 people in their town. They have to have a mechanism, even if it's a start to learning. And that's the really cool thing about the internet. I've been working with a girl that's in Canada, and she couldn't even leave her home, and she would send me videos, and so there are.
But that's different what you're doing, because you're actually interacting on the physical skill of grooming.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they find a mentor, if there's a way to get them to, I think maybe what you're thinking, or what Linda's saying, is where those schools or those programs are specifically lacking is that they don't have that one-on-one. They're not having that personal time via Zoom like this, or just to be able to help these. I mean, I get calls every day from people local doing ABC and the 1, 2, 3, whatever they are, and they're like, will you mentor me? And it's like, well, I kind of can't, because
that would be a bit of a conflict.
We're a school. Well, but shouldn't you be mentoring me because you are a school? It's like, well,
what they're led to believe that education is too, and that's why we just started a new program. It's another book that I'm getting ready to send to the printer for because we've had so many of our masters, and partly I think it's the Zoom, because they can go boom, 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 and now they're all jazzed and they finished and they still want to do something, which is really cool. So now we're working on programs where they can become mentors, they can become training centers,
wonderful.
or they can, be an approved school. Like, there's all different levels. So for some of these people, if they can get a grooming course in their hand and then do hands-on mentoring, that's one more person that's getting a good education from a master groomer instead of an education from a notebook from California, So, so we're, and every, the Zoom makes it so much better, because those people that want to do that, they have to go through the certification, the certifier training, so that they understand what they're looking for, starting with safety and then working their way through the levels. So that gives us a way to kind of train, not grooming school instructors, but mentors. So people that can help mentor these groomers that don't otherwise either don't have the money, don't have the access, aren't living anywhere where they're close. I mean, there's just so many reasons. Or they can't, they have never heard of your school. And because I've had people from New York call, and that was before I knew you, and I never know where to send them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that Mike is going to be working on, is really trying to get some cohesion in the schools around the country. So
that's hugely needed.
Yeah, so that we can get some sort of continuity in what the graduates are learning.
Is he with San Diego?
He's in San Diego.
The Dog Grooming Academy.
San Diego Grooming Academy.
Yeah, I think I've talked to him a couple times about that and trying to work that way, but it's hard to try there's a lot going on.
So IPG is going to create that networking. It's great.
He's kind of thinning out some of his. He's kind of like me, has all these things going, but he's kind of thinning out some of his business to give him time to devote to the school, because he does a lot of consulting for people wanting to start schools anyways. And he's kind of just doing it on his own. And I said, let's do it for a reason and help these people, give them the tools. If they want to have a school and if they're qualified, let's give them the tools to do a good job, or if they're a school that's struggling a little bit, let's give them the tools to do a better job, because they can't all go to your school. They can't all go to their school.
No. Yeah, there's got to be, and it's hard. There's so many out there that are so many. And I think, Jennifer, the other thing you were saying about it is that we've talked about this how many times in just this particular show, the misuse of the term certification versus certificate versus diploma and what they all mean. And when you have people that come from corporate that are saying, now I'm certified, because they've heard it from somebody internal that's using it improperly to make them feel good about what they've just gone through. It's unfortunate for them, and it's unfortunate for our industry to continue down that and snowball that.
Yeah. And it's really important to really impress on everybody that certification means that you've had to do something and been evaluated by independent evaluators. So that's not your boss, that's not your teacher, that's not the person that you've worked with every day. It's somebody different. And that's why we can offer it to the schools too, as another independent evaluation of their skills, which is one way. We do have a lot of schools that do that with their students as they're graduating, which is, it at least helps make sure the students are coming out with a little bit of continuity in their education. But, there's so many certifications, quote unquote, out right now that, you sign up for an hour class and you get a certificate. We don't even care if you watched it, or a 4-hour class, and we're going to give you a written test and you don't even have to get the answers right, So there's so many ways that it's being so diluted right now, which is unfortunate. So
That's because
it's
people
important.
are desperate to hang a real credential on
I
their
know.
wall. And, the many people in the public don't know I
No,
attended a class.
no.
Here's my piece of
But that's
paper.
why what you're doing is good, because
Yeah.
you're at least educating them about certification, because
Yes.
they don't know. They only know what they get in the email. It says you're taking, here's a certificate course.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get certified in it. And they're going, oh yeah, okay, cool. Because they don't,
Right.
it's not that they're trying to cheat the system. It's that I think the system is doing them a disfavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's where, it is. You can't call it a certification class.
I
It
know
is
there has to be an
a
evaluation.
certificate
Yeah.
of attendance, a certificate of
Right.
completion. That's
Something.
great. Those are
Yeah.
all perfect to be
Yeah.
gotten. Those are all fantastic to hang on your wall. But the
Right.
minute you say it is a credentialed anything,
Yeah, there has to
you
be.
gotta have
And
your
I strongly believe, because I know that you had somebody that disagrees with me on this, but I strongly believe that I have to see them work. Somebody has to evaluate how they handle a dog.
The
Because
actual
I know
grooming
the
of a
argument
dog.
has been,
Yes.
well, they can hide it. But most people can't hide it. You can tell if they're not nice to the dogs or the cats. You can tell, because the things that they just do without thinking, they're going to do in front of you.
especially if
Because
they're
it's what they
nervous
do
too.
every day. Yeah, even more so.
Especially
So,
when they're nervous. Yeah.
like when we're doing when Texas has the mandatory certification, and I've watched lots of those people on Zoom, many of
Are
whom
we talking about the El Paso
El Paso,
law?
and one don't even speak English. And I can, there's one salon that's struggling, because I don't pass them until they've done it safely. And they think they do it fine, so they just do it the same way over. But many of those other people, they're just so kind and gentle. And I'd like to think it's because they read the books and got better. But, many of them, I'm sure, were kind and gentle to begin with. And maybe they just learned a few tips. So, but you can see that when you get to watch them. And that's what's so great about the Zoom, is that there's no reason why you can't watch them. And as we're getting more, I have apprentice certifiers come on every time. As we get more people that are actually qualified to certify, there's no reason that we could not physically, visually certify everybody in the whole country that wants to have a certificate, a safety certificate, by watching them bathe and dry a dog. There's no reason that can't happen. So you can't use that.
Thank you for making it so accessible.
Yeah, that's
thank
huge.
you for making certification a real peer evaluated, physically demonstrable skill that is so accessible in so many ways to so many different people. Thank you for doing that. That's your great legacy, Linda Easton. Your great legacy.
Well, thanks.
Well, we are right at an hour.
Yep.
Is there any questions in the chat that we have? Anybody have anything out there?
Questions.
Do you, Michelle, Melissa? Oh, Michelle, sorry. I always do that to you guys. Michelle, Melissa, who's here now?
I know Michelle's really sorry she had to miss us because she adores you, Linda. Yes.
Oh, I know. Mindy said she wants to become a certifier. We're actually having a meeting. This is my first. Victor's done.
Is that an air quote?
Yeah, it's a meeting because it's on Zoom for our master groomers or people that haven't quite got to masters that wanted to become certifiers or mentors or that. So we're gonna have our first meeting next month about that. Which Jennifer, you'll get invited, and Michelle will.
I was gonna say, do I get an invite?
And we're gonna talk about, because I think that the people, judging by how many people contact me, the numbers of people that are certifying is like growing in leaps and bounds. And we need a huge group of people to help. Because it's not me, it's what we
growing
do.
The movement. Yep.
Yeah. So
Kim is asking, how does she register for salon safety? That would be a track 1 class. How do people go? How do people find you to get going with this, Linda?
On the website, it's IPG ICMG.
I posted it. I posted the link
And
in
then
the comments.
there's two different ones because she said salon safety sanitation. We have two now for the track one, and they're both on the website. The second one, I just finished the book. The one is certified professional groomer. And so that's safety in the salon, safety with the groom, safety with the bath. And then there's certified pet professional, which is safety in the salon, safety with the bath. The grooming piece is not in that. So that used to be called our salon certification. Now it's the certified pet professional. So we have both of those tracks and they're both on the website. That one's less, right? And I think
and
it's
the website again, everybody, is ipgicmg.com.
Yeah, I posted it in the comments. So it's on all the
I believe the cost on that one is, I believe it's $257 because it's just got the one test plus, and they both include membership. And then the other thing that we do, which I should mention before you leave, is that we do continuing education as part of your membership. We were trying to do it once a year, and now because everything's online, we're doing them on Zoom webinars. And if you're a member in good standing, you can attend every one you want to if you attend it live. There will be a limit to how many we'll give you links to, but members can attend all of them live. They just have to let me know and I put them on the list. So that's, we're all about keeping everybody current.
So you're say that one more time. Sorry.
So we have continuing education every year. Yeah. So anybody who's a member in good standing can attend any of them, all of them live. So like next month,
just helpful workshops on a number of different subjects, right?
Yeah. Then one next month is double coats. Jim's got one coming up on groomer health. Victor's got one coming up on hand stripping in the grooming salon just for pets. So you don't have to go, oh, but what if there's another one I want? You can do all of them. And then we're going to have a little thing where you answer a question and send me an email, and then you'll get a little certificate and a little like voucher that says you've completed an hour of CE.
Kim is also asking about classes that would help with a WPA credential test, and that'll actually be done through WPA. Will have classes at both Atlanta Pet Fair, Super Zoo, but also online as well for that. But that's a different, that's that baseline competency written only test, which is different than what this IPG certification is, actual physical testing of your grooming skill. Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing that you have to remember about a lot of the written tests for things like that is that a lot of groomers struggle with written testing. That may be why they got into grooming, and that's why we went with the open book. And we're going to put our tests online, but they'll still be open book. So if you shouldn't have time to look up all the answers, but some of them, because they've done a lot of research, and the research shows that people learn more when it's an open book test, because you tend to look up answers that you don't know, and then you remember what you looked up.
Yeah.
Right. So
well, it actually back over
and all IPG testing is open book.
Right.
Which is
so so that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's actually, you are 100% right. As a career educator, I got a master's degree in education. Yeah. That is right. People learn by doing.
Right. Which, by the way, I will tell you that I fought Jim on that tooth and nail for quite a while. No, we can't have open book tests.
That's because he's a doctor. He had to go to med school.
Well, he used to teach too. He was a professor for quite a while. He taught quite a bit, and so he knew that. And I had to read the research, and then I knew it too. But it is
it's a lot to take in sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of things, and when you're trying to absorb, and I know this just by having students, and they get all panicked over thoughts of, oh my God, we actually have to take a test.
Well, and especially as you age,
know what you're
our brains get
executing.
Full. It's harder to retain. When you're the things I could memorize when I was 18. I got A's in school. I was a good memorizer, but it changes. Now I try to write down 5 numbers and I have to look at it 3 times. It changes what your brain can just actually hold on to.
Yeah.
So, and
Kim agrees. I think, Kim, that's a great point, that most groomers could probably be visual learners. You know, there's visual and kinesthetic, and there's emotional learners, and, you know, by rote and by hearing, auditory learners.
Right.
That's a really good point. I'll bet you, because groomers are kind of more artistic side, that you know, that's probably more the way they learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Linda, thank you so much for all that you've done
that
for
was
our
great,
industry.
Linda. That really clarified a lot.
Oh, good. Good.
Yep. Well,
I know
it's
it's a lot of information, so it takes a while to clarify it, you know. In the old days, it was easy. 4 tests. What do you need to know?
I know, but you guys have really broken it down to make it so much more accessible.
Yeah. And that's been the goal, because I believe everybody should, you know, I really think everybody should be certified.
Right.
Everybody should have a basic safety certification.
Yes.
And not just to prove that you're safe, but I think for your own self, you know,
right.
I think that it acknowledges to you that you're okay, and you can do a good enough job to get that certification. Because I know a lot of groomers that don't certify because they worry about that. And so, you know, that's one of the things. We're here to help you. We're not going to give it to you, but any way that we can help you pass, we will, you know.
Right.
Talking you through things, giving you examples, you know, helping you figure out dogs. I mean, we really do try to help you be successful. So,
yep. I can vouch for the fact that's very true. You guys are incredibly helpful.
I appreciate you bringing, and I'm sure the other ladies here too. We all appreciate you bringing that information forward for, you know, for all of us. There was a lot of nuances that I didn't know, so I'm happy to hear it.
Well, good.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, there's lots
away.
of new things going on too, so that helps.
So next week, Dara, what do we know what we're doing?
Yeah, I haven't heard back from anyone, so we might just do a recap. And talk a little bit about that.
The one thing I can say is that we tried to get the AKC Safe certification program. We tried to get Susan Scholler on for next week, but she's in the middle of moving, which is a legitimately good excuse for why you can't be on our show. But there's some great information on their website. We will go over at least a little bit about that next week.
Yeah, we can talk about that next week and go over and recap what we've learned from these groups. And
Mindy wants to know when the next Zoom certification for IPG is.
We have one next. It's almost always the last Sunday of the month. So there's one next Sunday, and then the last Sunday of April. And I think there's an additional one on a Monday in April that it's not posted yet, but they're always listed on the website. So, and on the Facebook page, I always put a current listing on the Facebook page too. I try to put it everywhere so everybody knows.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll let you go because I think you have a live show tonight too, don't you?
No, mine is not on Mondays.
Okay. I was worried about that.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Well, thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you for joining
us.
Thank you,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to everybody watching this.
Our best to Jim as he's remodeling your kitchen.
Yeah, we want to see pictures.
Yeah, I know. In his office. I know. He's busy. All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk with you soon, Linda. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you.
And we are going to end. We'll see everybody next week. Have a good grooming week, and we will talk with you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Bye.